Last time I thought my mic was not on. Now I'm on.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Vatsala, were you saying something? We couldn't hear you.
Now we can start admitting people, is what I said.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you when you were saying.
Is it still the problem?
Yeah, now it's okay. I think you just need to bend a little forward.
I will.
See, just kidding.
So we just want to give a few minutes before we start.
The YouTube link needs to be posted in the.
We can do that later.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. We are just giving it a few minutes for everyone to join after work. So till then, we can keep looking at the vision, mission, and purpose of ASEI.
Welcome all.
Welcome. And we can also introduce the Michigan chapter, which we'll talk about later as well, and the national board. And here comes our national president, the moment we talked about. So right in time, Satish. Okay. Should we? Okay. Let me stop sharing and let's all begin. So, hello everyone. On behalf of ASEI, I welcome you all. I hope you are enjoying this roller coaster weather pattern that the one above has been challenging us with. So I'm sure we'll enjoy it further. 2024 has arrived and we have a fresh set of members in the national as well as the chapter team, and you will get to network with them after the talk. Now, fake is a word that is becoming an integral part of our lives. It is getting more and more difficult to distinguish an original versus an imitation. So basically, the fake industry is quite real in its existence. And to enlighten us further, we have Anjali Kota, who will be talking shortly about the measures being taken to combat it by the government. But before we set forth in that journey of counterfeit and original, let me remind you of a few original housekeeping tips. The session is being recorded and we are live on YouTube as well. We welcome you to revisit the content and also share it with your friends. While you are there, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel also. That way you will keep getting updates on a regular basis. While the session is going on, we request you to mute yourself and use the hand raise feature to indicate that you want to say something. But a better thing would be that you put your comments and questions in the chat, and we will be monitoring the chat and taking your questions to the speaker. Let me now introduce Muthu Sivanantham to give you who will give you a brief of ASEI and its journey under his leadership of the Michigan chapter. Muthu, with over 28 years of industry experience, is a seasoned leader and a trusted advisor in the fields of digital twins, digital manufacturing, and product lifecycle management. He is passionate about creating and delivering game-changing industry solutions for the energy and material customers at Dassault Systems, the 3D Experience company. Muthu was the president of Michigan chapter for the past 3 years and continues now to be in the advisory board. He is now also the treasurer of the National Board of ASEI. So over to you, Muthu.
Thank you, Vatsala. Warm evening wishes to all of you. Thank you for joining. You could be anywhere else, but you decided to join us. So let's make it very short and welcome the new team and, of course, our main speaker. So you guys see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, ASEI, to many of you in the network, you know about our network. We were started 40 years ago, proud to be, we started right here in Michigan. So the Michigan chapter is very proud of that. Beyond all that, of course, you know, it was started as a network for the Asian Indian diaspora for community service as well as technology exchange. Mainly, I would say, the main purpose of nurturing next generation of engineers and technical professionals. So this is known to you. What we are doing right now, although, is after having this 40 years of legacy, we are transforming the organization into a data-driven tech organization that promotes DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. You would see as we form the new chapters, we are seeing good representation from women as well, and we're proud to have Michigan team led by Lalita, and also the SoCal team led by a new woman president. We're really proud of that. So why ASEI? So it's just not for what we can take, we can also give back a lot. So whether you are interested in giving back to middle schoolers, high schoolers, you want to connect with university students, or you want to mentor early career professionals, or maybe if you are an early career professional yourself, if you want to get mentored by our senior executives from the network, to mid-career to senior management. So for everybody, there's something in ASEI you can walk away with. In addition to having our speaking sessions like today, we also have National Convention, which we had a successful one last year, and also various networking and recognition events throughout the year. And moving on to why ASEI again, there are also some other benefits. So we are fortunate to have one of our last National Convention's sponsors, GMS Registrar, here represented through Anjali Kota and Jack Kota. They have been kind enough to support us, as well as to provide some internships. So contact any one of us if you are interested in, if you or your students are interested in getting some internships. So thank you for that. And we are joined by other industry organizations. For example, I think we have Sharon here from IEEE. We partner with Engineering Society of Detroit. So by being part of this network, you also get this additional network benefits. And simple things like insurance too. So being a Michigan member, we for a long time we've had home and auto insurance, and we are trying to renew similar partnerships this year. So there are some real short-term benefits as well as grander network benefits. So as a means to get in, prepare for our national convention, we did EV Summit in end of 2022, which was a big success. We did that in Schoolcraft. Then beginning of last year, we started doing some, back to basics. We did a program on water, how important water to our lives and so on. Then as a tradition, this is the 4th year running. I guess last year we had ASEI was fully represented in our collaboration with AIWA. We did International Women's Day. This year too, I think you'll be seeing in 2 weeks from now, we are celebrating that in association with AIWA. AIWA stands for Asian Indian Women's Association. And March is also important time for us when it comes to science fair. So this is our last year's science fair. So we promote younger talents as well as award them with little gifts and judge their projects and really motivate them to work with new technology. Then as a work in building up towards national convention, we went back to the roots. We went back to reach back to our founding fathers. We reached back to our senior members like Jack himself. We got in touch, and this was a big event, quite successful, which really led us to get in touch with so many of these organizations we network with in our network. We were fortunate to have these sponsors really supporting our national convention last year. No wonder with all their support, it was a grand success. So we had these 3 themes of the national convention, followed by a banquet dinner. All these were successful, quite very well represented. A good diversity of speakers coming from our industry leaders from the area, in-state, out of country even. Followed by a very successful function. And we have made a brochure that any of you can access. It's on the ASEI website. And one thing I forgot to tell you, we are a tech-driven organization. You would start seeing glimpses of that when we transform our website. So we're transforming. We're starting with a new website in a month or 2 from now, heavily led by Vatsala and team. And that the momentum continued, and now we are proud to say not only the new national team is formed, as democratically as every year, as well as the new chapter teams are formed, and we have like bigger presence, and our teams are growing. And also as a side bonus, we have 2 new student chapters formed, one in University of Michigan, Dearborn. In fact, next week we are officially launching that through an event. Georgia Tech is interested, and in fact, they're in advanced stages of joining. And few other universities in the area are interested as well. And Anjali, who's going to give a speech today, she's also speaking at University of Toledo tomorrow. So that's our means of giving back to universities and engaging in industry academic partnerships. One of our other board members, Ritu, will be speaking in April at the University of Toledo. So we are doing these University Connect engagements. And I don't want to steal, I don't want to take anybody's time. Without further ado, of course, this is the program that's coming up next week. Let me introduce our new chapter president, the much able Lalita Kambambati, who's been our pillar for the last 10 or so years for the ASEI Michigan chapter. And she's an SAP expert. I don't want to go back into her professional life. She has accomplished a lot. She's done quite a bit with our national convention last year, and she's formed a fabulous team. Let me introduce Lalita, who would take over and run the rest of the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muthu. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really honored to be given this opportunity to lead the ASEI Michigan chapter. You've seen the amazing accomplishments that Muthu just presented. So our chapter is already set with the ability to fly at high altitudes. So just get on board, buckle your seatbelts as we set forth on an interesting journey to connect, explore, and learn from each other. So I move on to introduce the crew. That is our Michigan board members. The Vice President, Ravi Majmudar. I think he's there. So Ravi, you're here, right? So I think, can we get people like...
We can do it during the network session, Lalita,
Okay.
just for the time.
Okay, that's fine. Then I'll just go through.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, the treasurer, Rakesh Saini, secretary, or in fact, a better word would be the chief operating officer, Jhansi Nalla, Anjali Kota, who's also the speaker tonight. Ritu, I think, couldn't join us today. And you've already met Vatsala. And Vatsala also happens to be the vice president of the national, ASEI National. Kush is also like not able to join us today. Ravi Ramamurthy is there, right? Yeah. And yeah, Anjali Tiwari is also there with us today. Ankur Singh, Shiva Mutyampeta, and Sridhar Srikanthan. So we move on to the advisors. The advisors who have been providing valuable guidance to our team. Muthu, whom you've already met, and he happens to be the treasurer of ASEI National. Jwalant and Rakesh, who are also there in ASEI National. Santosh Tiwari, Ram, and Vel Subramanian. So you see that we are really equipped with a really able crew to take us on the flight. So I move on to, and I think, Vatsala has put up the slide for the national board, and you can see the national board as well. And I think whoever's joining, we will be getting back with the introductions later. So I move on to the introduction of the speaker tonight. Our new board member, the dynamic Anjali Kotha. She's the vice president of Technical Services GMS Registrar Limited and president of BPX Technologies. Her career journey has been really interesting, with a bachelor's in biochemistry and a master's in biomedical engineering. And then she goes on to lead organizations like GMS Registrar and BPX Technologies. GMS Registrar provides certification services in various IT fields: environmental management, health and safety, cybersecurity, medical devices, and aerospace. On the other hand, there's BPX Technologies, which is a women-oriented owned business, where she's expanding it into the government contracting. So she's also an active member of Toastmasters chapter, where she has served as the treasurer and also supports the YMCA Women's Leadership Institute. So we are really looking forward to this Anjali's presentation tonight. Over to you, Anjali.
All right. Thank you, Lita. And dynamic speaker. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. So, but so folks, I mean, thank you for joining us today. I know it's towards the end of the day, but it's our first networking event of the calendar year. And I hope to be able to enlighten you about a few things that's happening at the U.S. government level, but also more importantly, some things that are kind of happening in our realm. And just before I begin, everyone can see my screen, right? It kind of a thumbs up. You can see my screen. Okay, wonderful. So folks, what we're talking about today is the US government's initiatives to combat maliciously tainted and counterfeit products. But before we get into how the US government and what are maliciously tainted, I kind of want to talk and walk you through some things that are maybe hitting us here at home. Everyone knows that as soon as you get off a flight from JFK, LaGuardia, you can take a quick Uber and land in Manhattan, and you can buy counterfeit and tainted purses, right? You can buy a Gucci purse for $25. You can buy Valentino loafers for $30, right? And in November 2023, so just a few months ago, there was a huge bust. So 2 people were arrested for a seizure of up to $1 billion of counterfeit products. Now, this is a bigger problem, and this is only purses and luggage and shoes, which may not be applicable to everyone here on the call. But when it hits closer to home, such as counterfeit engine parts. So this news came out around October timeframe of last year, late October, November. And I remember that article because I was actually in Dallas for an FDA appraisal that I was doing, and I read this article as I was probably going to the airport or coming from the airport. And it's a United Airlines. They use a supplier called AOG Technics. And AOG Technics unfortunately sold United Airlines dubious parts, and particularly engine parts. So the parts were discovered in a single engine on 2 aircrafts, and it's a Chicago-based airline that were replacing those engines. But these are commercial airlines, right? They're not F-15 to F-16. They're not something only the Navy is using. These are current planes that United Airlines are flying that had false, fake, counterfeit, maliciously tainted engine products. And when in the news hits home, we were wearing these masks for how many years? Since 2020, we were wearing masks. And counterfeit PPE, and specifically things like this, like KN95 masks, have been running rampant of being counterfeit and maliciously tainted. And you may think about it, well, it looks kind of normal, but the key difference is it's not an N95 mask. You could be missing key filters that are protecting you from those micron-sized virus of the coronavirus, right? That's the delta between a K95 mask and just a little surgical mask, is the layers to protect you against those microns. So a lot of these masks were coming in from China, were flooding the market. And you can find them on Amazon. You can find them on other kind of free, those kind of websites where you can buy bulk material. Even on eBay, people would buy, masks, especially when PPE was being, not as readily available because the hospital was using quite a few masks, right? And it's really concerning when not only masks are counterfeit and maliciously tainted, but other things like respirator machines. All of these things really can impact our life. And, so what is the big deal, and what are maliciously tainted products and counterfeit products? So let's take a look. So a maliciously tainted product, malicious, there's an intent there, is the product is produced by a provider and is acquired through a provider's authorized channel, but has been tempered with maliciously. So with the intent of harming someone. So a mask that has 3 less filters than it should be, someone is wearing the KN95 mask next to their partner who maybe has COVID and they're driving them to the hospital. They're not actually protected because they're not wearing the actual appropriately designed and approved KN95 mask. They're wearing something less than subpar. And then a counterfeit product is the product is produced other than by or for a provider or supplied to the provider by other than a provider's authorized channel and is presented as being legitimate even though it is not. Okay. So what is the US government doing about it? Namely 2 things. They are passing bipartisan bills. So finally, both parties are agreeing, right? That aim to take on counterfeit medical supplies. So boost the US made products and manufacturing, give them a break on taxes, make more American products. Okay, that's the one thing. And that's particularly directed towards medical supplies. And then NASA. NASA is really big in our customer base. So our customer base is government contractors. For those who aren't aware, government contractors do work for the government. So I don't know if you're also aware that the government lives and dies for government contractors. If you ever go into a DoD office, hopefully you never have to be there or anything like that, but you go into a DoD office and even the soap in the restrooms comes from a government contracting contract for someone to purchase soap to be delivered and installed into the DoD restrooms. So my point is the US government runs on government contractors, and NASA is launching. It's supposed to be late February. We're thinking maybe March or May, a request for proposal for this big contract called NASA SOUP 6. And all of the government contractors who are interested in working with NASA they're going to be going after this contract. And NASA is strongly endorsing an ISO standard, so an International Standards Organization standard. It's this organization in Geneva, Switzerland. They roll out hundreds and thousands of quality management systems. And one that is very hot and heavy in our customer base and our government contracting base is the standard called ISO 20243. And it's all about information technology, open trusted technology provider standard, mitigating maliciously tainted and counterfeit products. So what does this mean? Is that NASA wants, if you're going to be working with NASA and procuring products, specifically information technology or COTS, commercial off-the-shelf information technology-based products. So think of laptops and servers and software and cameras and webcams, whatever, if you're purchasing these for NASA, they want to make sure they're not maliciously tainted or counterfeit products. Okay, imagine a piece of software that could be used in a manned shuttle system to the moon, and you have a maliciously tainted engine part or maliciously tainted software that can be controlling the AC or the ventilation or something in that manned shuttle. That's what we're talking about. That's the level of detail we're talking about here. Okay, so this effort really ultimately started in January 2010. The initiative of NASA working with this organization called the Open Group to develop this standard that's supposed to be helping organization reduce the threat of counterfeit and maliciously tainted products. And it was really, private and public sector with NASA and Air Force working together hand in glove, trying to rely on these, commercial off-the-shelf products being vetted, tried and true, and really trying to reduce the threat of these products being tainted or counterfeit. Okay, and what is NASA saying about this certification? That this ISO 20243 provides you with a peace of mind about the products you acquire for your agency. I mean, NASA has had their fair share of drama, right? They've had, I think it was just 10 plus years ago, not 10, it was 38 plus years ago when the Challenger blew up, right? It was a terrible, fatal incident that happened, and we can't help but think, there wasn't such maliciously tainted and counterfeit products back then that we know of. But that is what NASA is trying to prevent on a daily basis by saying that you need to be implementing this standard if you're going to be working with us, NASA. So what is ISO 2043? What is it? It's essentially a list of guidelines and best practices that have shown to enhance the security of global supply chain and the integrity of COTS products or commercial off-the-shelf products for information and communication technology-based products. So think of hardware, software, servers, etc. Right? There's really two parts to it, and it really the big thing that I want to get, I want you all to get from this is it really can come from the design aspect of a hardware, software, server, the sourcing of those materials, the building actually aspect of if you're sending these products to an actual builder, that they're building it with efficacy and they're not maliciously tainted or counterfeiting certain parts, fulfillment, distribution, sustainment, and then ultimately disposal of the product. disposal is proper. It needs to have proper guidelines of the product. So there isn't old pieces used in one product to then maybe be polished off and used, into another product. That's what we're talking about, proper disposal. And then part two is really checking to see, is always that verification, these assessment procedures that say, are you following these guidelines? If you're telling NASA that, yeah, we are certified to this standard and we are following these best practices, well, if you ever had like a third party or someone non-biased, right, a third party come in and review your work and see that you're following these guidelines, would they have the same opinion? Or would they find a delta that you aren't really implementing these guidelines? Okay, so what types of products does the ISO 20243 standard cover? I kind of talked about it's from design to implementation to rollout to this, that's a disposal. If you take a look at this graphic, this is all the different bodies, all the different players in this system. Okay, so you want to maybe focus on the integrator, the provider, the component suppliers, and the customer and acquirer is NASA. But all of the other bodies have something to do with the ultimate product that NASA is getting. And so this is NASA, of course, but you may think, well, I'm not NASA. I don't work for NASA. I have my own life here down on Earth, right? We're not in space, we're not in Mars. And so how do we protect ourselves from tainted and counterfeit products? Buy American-made products as much as possible. If they're American-made products, hopefully they source. That's another aspect, is that hopefully they source from other American companies. That's another thing. It could be made in America, but then they're having products that are acquired elsewhere, right? So that's why it's as much as possible. But we're trying to reduce the risk, really, ultimately. Reduce the risk of buying tainted and counterfeit products. Historically, tainted and counterfeit products are coming out of China. That's not a bias or anything like that. It's just that's the facts, is they're coming out of China. Amazon is a really quick, easy, simple. You click a button and it's literally at your house tomorrow. But a lot of people have used Amazon to buy masks, insulin needles, and other medical supplies. But review the seller. The seller is, Amazon is an open market. You can have sellers from all over the world. I don't know if you folks are aware of that, but you can have sellers all over the world selling you products. And just review the seller, read all of their feedback, read the negatives. What I do on Amazon is I often go to the 1 stars first and then go up. I don't go to 5 or 4. I read the 1 or 2 stars and see what are some issues that they're seeing. And cheaper often is not better. So be suspicious of those, lower priced products compared to maybe the competitor. Something that's significantly lower, oftentimes they're trying to catch you and trying to entice you to, purchase those products. And, just do your research. Okay. And with that, any questions?
So, Anjali, I have a question. With all the fake and counterfeit products, are we actually promoting American products rather than buying?
No, I mean, I would say specifically with things that matter, like medical care, syringes, those kind of things that I like to say are maybe like class 1 medical devices. I would personally, yes, I would buy from Johnson & Johnson or Edwards or Boston Scientific, right? Like those kind of like well-known products, or other brand name. I don't need insulin syringes, but those kind of things I would buy, right? Because those are oftentimes used here. They're FDA cleared medical devices. So yeah, for medical devices or those kind of things, yes. Now, if we're talking about Band-Aids, probably not, right? I mean, so we, but is those kind of things that matter, like insulin needles or other, masks, like those are the kind of things I would focus on buying brand name US companies as much as possible, because oftentimes they are part of an FDA cleared, or they have others, 508 compliance or companies or something like that. So they have some kind of standards behind them.
Got it.
Yeah, good question.
And we have another question by Rishika. Rishika, can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yes. So firstly, Anjali, thank you so much for this enlightening presentation, because at least it was good to know about the risk of the growing counterfeit market. But at the same time, I'm also concerned, if we start promoting making in America, then how are we going to, understand the or like help the low cost market segment of the society? And then it's basically, if you're trying to eliminate that part, it's very important to understand the supply chain of like how this is being introduced into the system. So how do you think that it's possible to like think about that aspect and eliminate it from that perspective?
So I think there was two questions there, and I'm not necessarily, vouching for American made. I mean, per Vatsala question, I do vouch for American made medical devices and those kind of things, definitely. And I mean, if we go further along, even prescriptions, there's a big rise of fake prescriptions coming from India, unfortunately, and China and Mexico, and those kind of things, like even antibiotics. So those kind of things I do vouch for going through a pharmacy and getting legitimate products. And that's kind of how my stance is. I won't really talk about other American products because that's not really my interest. The other question about how does this come into the market, the fake products? I think it comes in through, I mean, like the AOG Technics, like with United, how did that slip? And I think they're investigating if it was a slip or if it is a maliciously tainted or counterfeit product intentionally, and it usually comes in through the supplier route. And that's because United isn't trying to intentionally have their planes falter, right? That would be very bad for business and stocks and all of their market value, right? Usually these kind of things come in through the suppliers, and the suppliers want more work, so they may have a counterfeit product because it's cheaper than the real thing. It's not a real steel piece, it's maybe a copper piece, right? Or something which is lesser material. And the AOG Technics is just one example when the supplier infiltrated a organization, I will say, called United. A few years ago, I'm thinking maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, when there was a big Home Depot cybersecurity issue, it was through the HVAC supplier system. The HVAC came into Home Depot. They were doing some work. They got into their systems, and that's how that huge cybersecurity attack happened. It wasn't Home Depot's, fault, or having there's like penetration testing, it's called, how to break in easily to their firewalls or vulnerability testing. There were vulnerabilities there, but it was the HVAC supplier that ultimately hacked and got into their system, and it opened up more vulnerabilities and got Home Depot into that deep water. So a lot of times we see it comes from the supply chain. And that is why ISO 2043 is trying to manage the supply chain. It's not just the organizations. It's not just Ford. It's not just Dassault Systems. It's not just the main prime work. It's the supply chain that's doing work with them. They're supposed to be following these best practices in ISO 20243.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
So I think the government has to play a big role in that, right? They could make legislations that you source a lot of the raw materials and supply chain within the US.
Yeah.
I don't think in the long run the prices will go up substantially, because the benefit to the local industry will be so much more. It will outweigh the increase in the cost, if at all that would happen.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you'll create more prosperity and economic growth within the US. I think government has a big role to play. And if you look at it, they're the ones who set up China, or sent jobs to Brazil or Mexico and all of that. So, I mean, they can reverse that and do something to improve the growth within the US.
Yeah. And Vivek, that's a fair point. It's not going to increase the price of the product here because we're vetting the suppliers. That's it. You can still do business with China and Brazil and the other countries you mentioned, but you just want to make sure that those suppliers are following these practices so you aren't getting counterfeit or maliciously tainted products, right? So that's a bigger thing. It's not saying no to the global marketplace and getting suppliers from those countries, but it's using these practices so you are ensuring or trying to reduce the risk of getting maliciously tainted counterfeit products. That's kind of the biggest thing I want to drive home is we can never completely get rid of maliciously tainted counterfeit products. We're trying to always reduce the risk. And ultimately, like all of ISO 2043 is that standard to try to, those are the best practices that organizations can use so they're not buying those products. And I work with I'll just say this, but I want to name the company. I mean, I work with a division of Johnson & Johnson, it's a medical device company, and they are looking into this standard. I was with them, I audited them in November, and I told them about this standard because they're having the medical device issues of they having to check counterfeit and maliciously tainted products. So every organization, if you were a product company and you're making product and selling product, could use this standard. I mean, the government is obviously, Vivek, to your point, they're interested in this through NASA, and medical device companies, FDA, class 1, class 2, class 3 medical device companies are interested in this standard. It's a very important standard for these products to maintain these products.
Right, not just NASA, right? I mean, I've been living here last 25 years. The entire Midwest has suffered because a lot of jobs have gone to Mexico, for example. And it is a false thing to say that, we are a high cost economy. I had a chance to go to Germany. They are also very, they have a high labor cost, but they were doing very well. Well, now it's a different matter because of the energy situation and all of that. But, it doesn't really cost so much, and the economy does well even in a high cost economy like Germany or Japan or things like that. So I think there were a lot of incorrect decisions taken to take away the jobs from the Midwest, and now we are realizing we get it back. Yeah, of course we should get it back, because then we'll be, you can't develop an economy if you don't develop manufacturing.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, Vivek, is that, we also do other certifications, obviously, but with CMMI is another one that's very important if you're developing software or products or running a help desk, running a call center, if anyone's government contractors here. But my point is that it originally started with the DoD in the 1980s, and only the DoD wanted organizations to be government contractors. If you're going to be doing work for the DoD and all the different agencies, that you needed to be certified to this standard. And now it's bloomed to all different agencies. So the DoD, but more things like the VA and Center for Medicaid and Medicare, all of the different things under HHS, NASA, all of these things. So what we're seeing here is, that maybe NASA is interested in ISO 2043, but we think it's going to kind of spread like wildfire, like with all other government agencies requiring government contractors to have this certification. And it may be not a requirement, but maybe if you're more on the commercial side, if anyone has their own companies and they're building, designing things on the commercial side, it may be more of a requirement, just like maybe ISO 9000 is, or other ISO standards. If you're going to do business with certain customers, like Swedgelock, there's a company here, Swedgelock in Cleveland's national headquarters is in Cleveland. They're required to be ISO 9000 because their customers require them. If you're going to do business with us, we want to make sure your product is ISO 9000, has good manufacturing practices and principles, and we want you to be certified to these standards. So it starts usually with the government, but inevitably it kind of trickles down to commercial businesses is what we've seen.
Yeah, and if the chain is vetted, it's great.
Yeah.
Mr. Jack Kotha had a couple of questions, so I'm going to bring him on to ask those. Sir?
You want me to ask a question?
I want you to ask those questions.
Okay.
Those questions you posted on the
Chat.
in the chat. Okay. Okay.
Basically, he's asking how long does it take for a company to get the ISO
Okay.
204?
Yeah, I mean it really depends, right? I mean, so if you are already a NASA contractor, that's definitely one, step above, because you probably have already something similar to this, right? But it's a relatively, their set of best practices, a lot of things you're probably doing already if you are a government contractor. I mean, so it can take, 2 to 3 months really to be following these best practices enough to go through a process, but then you continue to follow, right? It's never just a one-time thing. It's, you want to have this continuous, habitual, persistent behavior of following these practices and principles. So that's what I would say there, 2 to 3 months for a organization to be certified to that standard.
Right. But 2 to 3 months is not bad, I would say,
Yeah.
considering other things. Ankur, you had a question. Do you want to ask it yourself?
Yeah. So Anjali, I mean, I understand this is about NASA and whatnot, but now government is like, especially with infrastructure passing through, there's going to be a lot of projects that are coming, and this program also recommended for those federal agencies where you have environment.
Ankur?
Yeah,
So you're breaking up a bit. What was your question? You're talking about infrastructure bill and the projects coming.
He's posted the question, does the ISO 20243 also recommend for Buy America projects? That was his question.
Yeah, I think is it just the products or maybe projects too? I think that because he's a builder, right? So he builds bridges.
Yes.
His point is about infrastructure projects.
Okay. I would hope so. And that's referring to that, like Biden-Harris build or Buy America rule, right? I think that's what he's referring to. I mean, I'll have to look into that, but that you would think so, right, Ankur? I mean, you would think that you're buying certain grade of steel, right? Not saying American made, even though we all are Americans here. It's good to support it, right? But I think it just depends on, you'd think they would Buy America, but used products, but I'm not sure if they are recommending it. To answer your question directly, I'm not sure if they recommend ISO 20243. But if you have intel and insight, maybe you should give Biden and Harris a little nudge saying that they should be, because it's a very, very, very important and noble cause to be following these best practices. Like it really is. I mean, it's very important. Yeah, these practices. Oh, I think Jack has a question. Yep.
Yeah, I want to emphasize the point, Buy America is not the issue today. Buy America is not an issue. Anybody who is buying from anybody, you need to be aware that those products have to meet the safety standards. Those are illustrated in the 2243. We have been contacted by overseas companies as well, but they have to follow the same standards as American companies.
Yeah.
Particularly the medical devices are all over the world, but then they all have to follow the FDA regulations. Similarly, any products that come to the US economy needing with the requirement of the 2243 is not prohibited by the country of origin. It is prohibited by, are they meeting the requirement of the standard called the 2243 to protect from the maliciously tainted and counterfeit products. That is the issue. Not Buy America is not a driving force at all.
Okay.
All right, well said. Thank you.
Ankur, did your question get answered?
Yes, it got answered. Thank you.
Perfect. So, are there any more questions, or should we move on to the networking? Let me pull up. Let me go with Lalita. Get her in here. Go ahead, Lalita. You wanted to talk about the upcoming event.
Thank you so much, Anjali. And we really learned a lot from your session. And I think if there are any more questions, people could actually reach out to Anjali
And even
as
during
well.
the networking, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And yes, we do have some upcoming events. We will have a lineup of events this year, but we are presenting in upcoming events over the next 1 month. I think that's so. So just so here's the first one is the University Connect. And I think about this, Muthu can elaborate a little further. He has already mentioned earlier about the University Connect, and maybe Muthu can elaborate a little further about what they would be doing in this.
Muthu?
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me, right? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so University Connect is one of the 4 pillars that we have in ASEI. You saw earlier, we are trying to, since the last national convention, many students from the area attended our convention, and they showed interest in starting their own student chapters. Typically, they are associated with the parent chapters. In this case, University of Michigan, Dearborn, they already formed their chapter, and they are associated with Michigan. So next Friday is the official launch of this event. Some of the ASEI senior members from our network, and they also happen to be Dearborn alumni, so they are speaking at the event. So Dilip Paul as well as Rashmi Tumkur, they are sharing their experiences, and Ritu from our board is actually our University Connect, I would say, champion. So she's talking to University of Michigan Dearborn. She's talking to Georgia Tech, who's also interested and then starting their own chapter. So this is one such example. There are more. Even the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, as well as Oakland University, they are interested, and so is Lawrence Tech. So we have a big, I would say, a lot of interest in the area to start their own University Connect chapters, and through which they pretty much run on their own. After this launch, they have their own networking events. They can have they'll have internships, and then they'll have their own job fair. They'll have speaking discussions on various topics and so on. So this is just one such example. If any of you are available to spend 2 hours and come and join, you are welcome to join. The registration will be opening this weekend, so please register and make yourselves available.
And it's an in-person event.
It's an in-person event at the Dearborn campus. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So moving after that.
Yeah, the next one is the science fair. No, this is the, okay, yeah, this is, oh, sorry. Yeah, so this is the International Women's Day event on March 16. And we do have Daksha Pandit from Iowa joining us today, and she can highlight a little more about the event, what we will be doing. And the ASEI is collaborating with Iowa for to make this event happen.
Thank you, Lalita. I really appreciate. Thank you, Vatsala. I don't know what I'm going to say. These two are the one who are the heading this event. I'm just sitting behind and looking at them all the time. How nicely they are molding this event. But well, the event is an International Women's Day, which is actually on the 8th of March, celebrated all over the world. But we will be celebrating on March 16th at the Schoolcraft Community College, Vista Tech Center. We will have 9 organizations have joined the force together, and we are working together in molding this particular event. The theme of the event is innovation and technology for gender equality through economic empowerment. We have secured an outstanding keynote speaker, which is Ms. Takai. She is from the US government. We also have a nice panel discussion speakers, which are also from the very big industries, and they are vice president and all directors. So they will be also talking about technology, innovation, and also the economic empowerment. This year we are introducing, emphasizing on youth. So we have included a youth group, which are the high school students. They would like to be in the panel discussion on their own, and they will be discussing the technology related to the education, number one. And the second one, they are going to be discussing the social media, how important it is or how it is not. So they are going to be debating pros and cons of these two topics. And I think it is a wonderful leadership is, and I believe that all the engineers, they should bring their children in this event and support these young youth to motivate them that these kind of things can be done in this in a bigger scale. They do all this in the school, but I think this is a very community event. We all need to get educated about this. We are going to have some exhibitors. So if you are interested in shopping, we are going to have a delicious lunch. The time is from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And well, we just had a confirmation from Lieutenant Governor of Michigan. He will be there also welcoming and addressing our event. He will be opening our event. So I'm hoping that since the ASEI is a partner organization and we have two wonderful ladies working so hard in making this event success, we have kind of like extended a deadline on a request of these two ladies that ASI would like to have an extension for the early bird special. So we have extended the deadline. So please fill out the information on the QR code and register yourself, your children, your family, tell your friends, and come and join us and enjoy the evening. I mean, afternoon, morning, sorry.
Yeah. If you are a female, you have to be there to celebrate females. And if you are not a female, then you have to be there as a part of the ally. So please join.
Supporting the females.
And ASEI had been a great part of it. Even last year, we had Ashwini and Jhansi in the panel talking about it. So it's been it's a collaborative effort where ASEI takes a big part. So
yes,
you join.
Yes, we are very thankful of ASEI.
Was wonderfully moderated by Vatsala. So
yes, I was about to say that.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you for letting me come to your event and pitching
Thank you so much, Dakshaji. It's and we are really happy that we are collaborating with you to make this event happen. It was really a wonderful event last year, and we are looking forward to it this year.
Yes, same here. Thank you. With your hard work, it will be. I know that, Lalita.
No, it's you are like humbling us by saying that. Exactly. So the next one is the Science and Engineering Fair, and we have Sridhar here, who will enlighten us about what they will be doing here and how ASCI is really involved.
Okay, thank you, Lalita. Good evening, everyone. This is another big effort from ASEI. Over the last several years, they have partnered and supported the Science and Engineering Fair of Metro Detroit. So this essentially about 7 counties in Southeast Michigan participate in this. They happening annually. So ASEI partners with them. The projects come from middle and high school students here. And ASEI has opportunity for the students to nominate themselves for ASEI awards. So we are continuing that this year. So this is going to happen on March 20th at the Cobo Center, Huntington Place in Detroit. So a panel of ASEI judges will be there, and we'll be reviewing the project submitted from high school students. It's in different areas of engineering, robotics, alternate energy, different categories are there. And we'll be reviewing the projects and kind of promoting the students for ASEI awards. And what I show on the screen on the bottom right is last year, we had about 16 high school students selected for the recognition from ASEI, which involved a series of gift cards and certificates, as well as they had the opportunity to participate in the Youth Technology Expo in the ASEI National Convention. I think a few of them participated and presented there. So we hope to continue this and keep this going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sridhar.
And the next one, we are, this is the Silicon Valley chapter's upcoming events. And do we have anyone from Silicon Valley who can talk about it?
If not, just take
Yeah,
a look, and in case you are in that area, you are definitely free to go. It'll all appear in on the ASEI website, so do visit that. And with that, I think I can bring Shiva.
Good evening, all. What an insightful presentation. Thanks to our keynote speaker, Anjali Kota, for the government initiatives and the standards to protect the industry against counterfeits. Please stay on. This is not the end of our session. Our session continues after this quick note of thanks. Word of thanks. Thanks to the Michigan Board of Directors under our accomplished leader, Michigan Chapter President Lalita Party, for setting up this wonderful webinar. We have our members from the National Board. Thanks to G. Satish, President of National Board, Vice President Vatsala, Treasurer Muthu, Advisor Ashwini, Venkat Gurunathan from the DC chapter, and a lot of other accomplished members from the industry. Special thanks to you all, early participants, for joining today. We look forward to your active participation by bringing your family and also your friends to our growing ASEI family. Thanks again, and wish you all a happy and successful 2024, and look forward to a wonderful lineup of events from ASEI. Thank you.
And stay on for the
Thank you.
networking sessions. So, Jhansi, do you want to say something? I'm putting the entire gallery.
Right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I think we can start with an icebreaker question. So if you can, Vatsala, can you launch the poll?
Yes, I'm trying to. Yes. You see it?
Nothing yet on my side.
Okay. No?
No.
I think, Jhansi, we can ask that question now.
Okay.
So what is the best vacation for you? Is it foreign, a foreign country, the beach side? Jhansi, go on. What do you want? Yeah, I think we can go with your question.
Okay. So the question is, what's the best vacation for you? Is it, spending some time at beach, going to an amusement park, visiting a foreign country, something really extreme, going on roller coaster rides, or doing skydiving or crazy stuff, or your own backyard, because you might be lazy like me and you don't want to leave your house, or you have any interesting answer to share. So you can either come off mute or post your answer in the chat.
I think if you unmute, it'll be a better thing, because then we can all talk. And Jhansi, don't get her wrong, because she said she's lazy, but you need to know what she does. So Jhansi, your profession, please.
Oh, okay. So this is Jhansi Nalla. I should have started by introducing myself. I work at General Motors as engineering group manager for software-defined vehicles. I'm a dual careerist. I work in Army Reserves as a 12 Alpha engineering officer. So I have two careers at the same time. And yeah, been in Michigan from 2016 onwards. Don't like the cold. Every piece of me wants to run away either to California or Texas or back to India. But we'll take it one at a time. So I do see the answers popping up, and Vivek, love your answer. Your own backyard. You're going to be my best friend. So beach is the way to go. Foreign country or roller coasters. Awesome, Anya. Food adventures. That is different. So, Nita, what place do you like to go? Is it food hunting? Like you like to try different?
Yeah. Anywhere there is we would like to try out any good food, and like just go from one to the other and just try all of them.
Like
Alright.
with Ichiban Bamboo Garden, right? That's
Yes, ancient bamboo garden. Yes.
We used to drive to Cleveland just to eat and come back.
Yeah, I know. My parents, so Jag and I are in Jag's my dad, obviously, right? So we are in Cleveland, Ohio, and we used to have one like right by Case Western Reserve.
Exactly, that was the best.
That was so good. And the first time we went was actually, we used to, before COVID, go to the DC metro area a lot. We had an office there, apartment there, and we were there a lot. And that's where we first learned about Ichiban and get Bamboo Garden. And then when one came to Cleveland, I was like, oh, I didn't know they're a franchise. And we were so excited to have all the Nepali food, right? And then there's like the Indian food, and there's the Chinese food. It's like really, it's a great spot.
So there's an interesting information there. Ancient Bamboo is looking for someone who can partner with them for a franchise in Detroit.
Oh.
So if someone is interested in investing, please do, because we are, the customers are already ready.
And Lalita's just forgotten this is the ASEI
I second that. I would love some food. And I like Inchin.
Who better really to have broken the ice, so
who better to partner for a food venture than Lalita and Vatsala?
So yeah, did you guys try that K-pot? You must have tried probably in Novi. I loved it. I went recently. Had never been there before.
See, I'm telling you, food talks never stop.
I know what to do this weekend now.
But if you have not gone there, please go there. It's in Imagine, next to Imagine. It's wonderful. Yeah, I think it's wonderful. My son told me, and it is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's move on. I think otherwise our food talks will go on.
Yeah.
So Vatsala, 1 second. I think Satish might have to leave. He said, you want to put him on spot so that
surely.
President,
Satish, if you can switch,
I'm here, so put me on the spot.
Spotlight.
You are really on the spot.
Nancy, can you stop sharing for a minute?
Yeah.
Because we have a national president, G. Satish.
Really good to meet with all of you, and Vatsala, Lalita, Muthu, and everybody else. Thanks for putting me in the spotlight. You might want to step away from the monitors a bit if it's a bit hard. But really pleased to be here. I had the opportunity to meet with several of you briefly at the National Convention, and of course I've interacted more with the chapter presidents as well as with the EC and the other board members, much more, since I've been at ASEI, and since one of the core things, I think Muthu actually said that, right? Going forward, this is an organization that's been around for 40 years. Most businesses don't survive that long, and certainly not nonprofits or associations like these. So, I mean, there is a lot that it's a wonderful legacy, I think, that we have, and something that we can all look forward to carrying further. But as Muthu said, the goal here for us is to build this data-driven tech organization, because, hey, after all, we are engineers, and to some extent we have to conform to the standard stereotype of engineers being driven by technology and nothing else. So we look forward to that, and it's I mean, sessions like these are so important and interesting for two primary reasons, right? One, I'm based out of California, out of Los Angeles. We always tend to associate engineering and tech with IT. And this sort of steps outside of that. But also the second thing is this also steps outside what you might call standard engineering, right? We're not simply discussing all the things that we're all familiar with in civil, mechanical, electrical, and all of those things. So super interesting session. I'm looking forward to more. Thank you for having me over here. And I do certainly apologize for interrupting the flow. I certainly do, but I do have to jump on to another call.
Satish, while you're here, there have been many people asking for internships and seeking help for internships. Is there anything that we can tell them?
I know that we have, in fact, I know, Vatsala, you also welcome comments about the SoCal chapter. So we did have a session here, I believe it was just this past weekend. And there was a lot of discussion about not just internships, about also, how some of them help to get their first jobs out of school. There is some interesting discussions around how we can sort of formalize that, through our website, have people register there. And obviously, many of us represent, not me, but a lot of folks here represent large corporations, and I'm still startup young company, but a lot of large corporations. So I think it should be possible for us to at least promote, ideal, deserving candidates. That way. All I'm saying is that what many of us may be doing informally, we should find a way to do more formally. And that's certainly on the cards. In fact, there is you will start seeing as the website goes up, but the website is only a representation of ASEI. It's not ASEI, obviously. But part of the mission is really to reach out more to university students and so on. And what many of them really need is guidance, about their first job, but also even before that, the internships. So clearly, that is one of the things that we will be emphasizing on, the months ahead. But Vatsala, no specific internships I can talk to. I mean, that's unfortunate. But we hope to do a lot more.
Yeah, and we might have people in this network itself who might be.
Yeah. Like we mentioned earlier, one of our sponsors who's joined our call, right? Jack himself, being part of the network, is happy to support some interns on an ongoing basis. So we're going to have GMS register who's signing up for that. So similarly, like you said, once we launch the new website, we can make it as an active portal. So even the old website, we had a portal, but it wasn't that user friendly. So yeah, we'll take that as a main action, because we keep, like Vatsala said, we get a lot of inquiries these days, given the tech market the way it is.
Yeah, and any day now, the new website will be up, and then you can watch changes coming through on that. The other thing I would encourage very strongly is that if there is feedback, if there is any comments or suggestions, please feel free to reach out to us, to your chapter presidents, or to any of us here. Because I think transparent, candid feedback is always helpful, because we're out here to serve, to help a number of folks to give back, those of us that are in a position to be able to do that, right? And whether it is through internships or through providing a platform where those internships can be accomplished, helping career growth, and so on. So there is a lot that can be done here. So please do offer your feedback, suggestions, anything. I mean, somewhere, some late night, you probably have thought, I wish, ASEI would do this, or I wish there was an organization that would do this. We're game for that. Please do let us know.
Sure.
Thank you.
Satish, I just want to say hello to you, sir. You being the national president, I wanted to let you know that I was in your position like 10 years ago for 2 terms. And we wanted to introduce to myself and Muthu today to you. Anjali Kota is part of my committee for the Corporate Excellence Recognition Program. I was the founder member of that group, along with a president who previous chairman, rather, Ravi Raut was part of the award winner. Basically, we want you to know that we are revitalizing the Corporate Excellence Recognition Program. So because you are a national president, I'm going to be helping you to convey that to your members over there, that Corporate Excellence Program. Anjali Kota is one of the members, And we have Mahesh Reddy from California. You probably heard his name. He was my previous committee member. Now, since Ravi Raut is not here anymore, we are recruiting Muthu to be the third member, and we want to take that as a support team to support the national program called the Corporate Excellence and Recognition Program.
Oh, certainly. Thank you so much, Jack. And we did meet briefly at the National Convention, I think, and Anjali, I think we also met very briefly there. No, we look forward to this. I mean, we are super excited here about what I think we can do to build on what we have. And there has to be a certain degree of reinvention also, right? I mean, there is a need to actually adapt and change. And after all, that's what engineers are good at doing. So we must do that. And I think especially, corporate, the recognition schemes, whether it be for students, for other engineers, for young engineers, for soon-to-be engineers, I think this is so important. Again, as I said, this is a rare platform that I think can support many of those initiatives. And I mean, I'm looking forward to this. Thank you so much, Jag, and I do look forward to connecting with you some more. Perhaps I can learn some things too about from your experience as the president too, please.
Thank you. Thank
you.
Has
Rishika.
Yes, so Satish, I'll not take a lot of your time.
No, but please go.
But I'm currently a master's student in Duke University, and I'm also looking for summer internship opportunities, and getting all of your guidance will be really helpful. And I just wanted to ask, like, what is the best platform that I can reach out to you guys for guidance? And
Vatsala, if I'm not mistaken, there is, I mean, sorry, go ahead, please.
You're talking about the basic membership?
Yeah, I think there is also a way to, I think perhaps, I don't know if you're already a member in ASEI, but a basic membership, I think that's one way to go, at least so you're enrolled. But we will provide, and if you'll bear with us, I mean, we are going through a state of flux right now. I know Vatsala, right after this call, she's going to be talking to the folks who are actually migrating the website. And we are on a deadline, but just bear with us for the next about 2 to 4 weeks. But there will be a platform means for you to actually hopefully communicate with us at a minimum. And I don't want to promise something right now, but the goal is really for, where you can register yourself and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. One nice thing these days is you don't necessarily have to upload resumes or anything. I mean, everyone has a LinkedIn profile. All we have to do is, put your LinkedIn profile there, and people can then go and figure out, if this is a fit or not. But we will work through that, Rishika. I might also point out in this environment, after all, this is engineers of Indian origin. Many of us, myself included, came to this country as students. So I think we are very alive to the challenges that I think you might face and to the kind of support that will be required. And so the best that we can do is to at least provide a platform where folks that can give back can, and folks that need the assistance can get it.
So Rishika, if you are interested in knowing about the internship, get hold of Muthu and get hold of Anjali. They will lead you to some place where we can help you.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
That is what basically we were looking for.
As Sati is saying, everybody comes with as a student. I still remember my first day of arriving Michigan State University on January 1st, 1971, on a blizzard evening in Lansing, Michigan. That's one of the reasons why I'm so affiliated with Michigan, even though I'm not in Michigan for the last 50 years. So naturally, there is a relationship here for ASEI to help the students, particularly from the internship point of view. That's why Anjali Kvata will be one person you can contact. Muthu will coordinate that with you if you want to. Then Satish, that you can also nominate. I'm just asking if anybody else wants to inquire. I think Muthu can lead that connectivity with us.
I think, Muthu, we can direct it all to you, and then
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Satish. We didn't want to break any further. So Jansi.
And I apologize, Jansi, in advance. I know you
no worries. I think this is important too, right? And that's why we have a networking event. So you're making it real for the folks who join.
Well, actually, in the middle of breaking ice, I didn't want to freeze anything. So, but thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting you all. I do apologize, but I have to leave. I mean, for those of us that run small businesses like I do, or startups and so on, there's a huge demo coming up next week. There's a proposal due and all this. There's other stuff that we go with. But thank you so much. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Vatsala and everybody else, see you soon. Okay, take care.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Satish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, all right, team. I'm doing a quick time check. We are at 8:21. So instead of going through 3 questions as a part of our breakout session, you can either raise your hand or put your comments back in chat. So the question is, what activities would you suggest for ASEI to consider hosting in future? So in the past, we did, networking sessions. We had, Founders Day. We had a big success with our event last year. So are there anything which, can we do something different this year for you guys? So feel free to post it, or if you cannot think of anything right now, please reach out to any one of us with your suggestions, and we'll make it happen.
So I have
the suggestion.
I have the first suggestion. Let's go for a picnic. I think.
Yes, that's
picnic.
what that's something which I had in mind, and we had Ankur offered the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Picnic on a bridge.
Yeah,
Getting
bridge
creative.
visiting the bridge. He will take us through over there and show us.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's one of the things we can do. We can show you how we are building this.
So maybe bridges and brunch.
Yes,
that's what we'll name it as. And folks,
there you go. We have a good name for it as well.
Yeah, bridges and
brunch and bridges, or
brunching under the bridge.
No, first focus on the thing and then brunch.
Hey, name is important. That's how we get most people to join us.
So
which bridge are we talking about?
This is Ankur is actually involved in building bridges. So he's offered that he can take us and show us how how it's the whole thing
being
the
built.
process.
Okay,
He's
that
very
would be great.
passionate
Yeah.
about building bridges, and
Sure.
what we can do is we we can extend it to other people, for other people to join as well, like who are not maybe ASEI members, but they come regularly for our sessions. We can ask them to join in, and who knows, we can make them members soon.
Ankur, you may want to explain in a minute which bridge are you talking about? It's Mammoth, so you may want to explain which bridge you're talking about.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm working on the new Godia International Bridge, which is going to be next to the Ambassador Bridge, which will connect Windsor to Detroit, Michigan. So it has a lot of accolades that's coming with it when it's done. It's going to be North America's longest span for a stakeable bridge.
Yes.
It's going to be pretty wide, and it's a $5.7 billion project that we're working on. So, I mean, it has a lot of stuff in it. So, I mean, it has 2 points of entries, Michigan interchange connection. And once this is complete, you can get off I-75 and connects to 401 directly and don't have to go 20 red lights when you have to go through Ambassador Bridge. So a lot of good infrastructure coming around. So that's what this project is about. This is what we generally do. We go place to place and build bridges around the world.
So that would be great. So will they close the other Ambassador Bridge, or that will also be open? Or
that's not part of our contract, so I have no idea what they're gonna do.
Okay. But yeah, I read about this one. This is going to be huge. So that's great. Yeah.
So Muthu, what we have to do is, and Vatsala and Lalita, I have to get permissions and whatnot to do that. So if we want to do that, we need to start gathering a list of people and start finalizing some dates so I can get some permissions to do that.
Absolutely.
Is there a limit on people? Like how many people are allowed? Or is it open?
Let's start where we are. We'll go from there.
Just asking if there is a limit, then we'll take just first come, first service kind of situation.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of walking and whatnot, so it's not going to be easy. So it's a construction site and a lot of hazards around it, so we just have to be careful. So I would say right now 20 would be the limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So I think we'll get 20 people.
okay.
All right, team, any other ideas? That was a good one.
Yes, brilliant one. We are on it. And then since we talked about internship, Rishika, you know that we'll contact Muthu. And
So how about something like, I don't know whether it's feasible, but how about some kind of workshop or something?
so I just got an inquiry about a workshop that people wanted to have, and it was all about robotics.
Oh, that's nice.
What the person said is, could we schedule something in which regarding mechanical engineers and future robotics, VR type of work would be very interesting for kids to even talk about. They would love to showcase the robot they are building and get some guidance.
So then for this, we will need a venue, right?
So we can together come up with a venue. I think
Yeah.
they already have a venue. I just got it before things started, so I haven't been able to talk to anybody, but I think we can do that. They seem really excited about getting it done, especially in collaboration with ASEI. So that's another.
Yeah,
That's a good one. We can decide. We can discuss the logistics after. So I know we have 3 minutes left for 8:30. I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity. If you're coming up with some additional ideas, let us know. See a chat. Okay. Anyone else? All right, going once, twice.
Also about, online versus in person, what the interest is like. That's something which maybe we can get that.
But that we can do in betweens. Both, I would say.
So this year, I think we're planning to have a mix of virtual and in-person events.
Yeah.
Just for more participation, and as folks are around different parts of the country, they can join.
Yeah.
Lalita, you may want to mention, are we planning an in-person event coming up?
Yeah, in person, we are planning an in-person every quarter. So April is when we are planning to have our next in-person event.
Okay.
So stay tuned. We'll get the details together.
Okay. All right, Lalita, back to you to close us out.
Yeah, and I think the board members who have joined, if we can have them
introduce
on camera.
So
So
Ankur,
everyone, if you can actually turn on your video.
So you can just
Ravi Majmudar. Anjali Tiwari was there. Has she left?
She probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ankur is on camera.
Ankur's on camera. Sridhar, yeah. Ravi.
Call out their names, maybe.
Ravi Majmudar.
Probably unmute. He's unmute.
Yeah. Just call out the names of the members, Lalita. I think that should be good enough.
Yeah, you've already met, Muthu and Vatsala, Jhansi, and Shiva, Sridhar, Ankur, Anjali, and with her cat. And then we have Ravi Majmudar, who's not on video as yet.
But he's the vice president. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the vice president. And Jhansi is the one who's the operations in charge. So I think, thank you everyone for joining, and we look forward to seeing everyone in our upcoming events. Do let us know if you have any ideas, what you would like to see in the year, and we will try our best to incorporate those ideas. And if there are any speakers who, we are always looking out for speakers for the events. So, if you have something really interesting you want to talk about, do come up and let us know. We will try to accommodate that.
Okay. All
So
right.
thank you so
everyone.
much, everyone.
Anjali, good luck for tomorrow.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
Muthu.
yes,
Yeah, it's a
Anjali.
long speech.
Is it going to be online or is
In
it only in
person, yeah. So my dad and I will drive there. We'll leave like Cleveland around like 8:15 or so and get there. So thank you, Muthu. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Muthu, we also been invited to join Devinder Kaur for a lunch tomorrow before we get
Okay,
on to the meeting. So I'm looking forward to meet with her and talk any possibilities of opening your student chapter. Then I also ask her if there is any students looking for internship.
Perfect.
Rishi,
you.
contact Anjali Kota directly or Muthu directly. But are you graduated or are you still in the school?
In the school. I'll be graduating in December 24.
Okay, okay. Yeah, let Muthu know you are interested. Anjali will be able to put some effort for you to go somewhere.
And I do have 2 more inquiries. I'll also put that out to both Muthu and Anjali.
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Sounds
okay.
good.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, folks.
So much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.